let's fire off really quickly here. I want to fire off. We're going to do 2 secrets for Jed and 2 secrets for Daniel. And these secrets are, let's pretend you have a son and he's 24 years old and he says, I want to start my own game studio. Guys, you really want to see this guy, your son, succeed. So what are the 2 secrets, the 2 things that you're going to tell him to start his game studio? Let's go ahead and start with you, Daniel.
Dang it. Let me think about this.
Or you have a daughter, don't you? What, your daughter wants to start a game studio. What do you tell her?
Don't do it. I love you too much. You go first.
Okay. I do have one that I just thought of. I would say persistence and discipline. I do not think that we would be where we're at if we were not incredibly persistent. And I'm not saying that I'm not saying that we're intelligent because, we're persistent. We are just more than anything, we are stupid because we will beat our heads against the wall until it works.
Right. There's people far smarter than us.
Yeah.
But they're just like, what's the use?
Yeah.
We're just, I guess we really like pain.
Yeah.
So get used to being frustrated and hating life for a short period of time.
Yeah. So the first one is definitely persistence. I think maybe the next one is the people that you're around.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah.
I would say that finding someone, at least one other person, to be with you that knows that is on the journey with you is very important. Yeah. I don't think I could, both Daniel or I could not have made this project alone, on a solo team. That would have been horrible. So having someone who, and Daniel and I think we really complement each other because we're very, very different in the things that we are good at.
Yeah.
And so having someone else who is the yin to your yang,
yeah,
who can work really close and you have a very good dialogue with them and who's excited about stuff and you can kind of feed off of each other's excitement.
Yeah. And thankfully, it's happened multiple times where either of us are kind of like, what's the use? Maybe we should just give up. At least the other person was like, no, let's keep going. And then we'll go back and forth, every once in a while. At least one of us is like, no, let's keep going and encourage the other one.
So I would say those 2 things, persistence and having someone else in your corner that works with you. Those are my 2.
It's almost like the persistence is fueled by the community that you build. You can't be persistent unless you have something allowing you to be almost blind to how hard it is.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, because we could give all kinds of tips on this is the kind of software you should use and yada yada yada. Yeah. You learn all that with time.
Oh, I just thought of another one.
But the most important thing is, in order to learn all of that stuff, you've got to have the healthy foundation to work off of. So,
okay, what are your 2?
That was what
you can't steal mine.
I was gonna say the support system. So
okay, well I have another one I just thought of.
Go for it.
I would say, which actually I think you just kind of made me think about it, was learning. I think being able to learn is really important because I think what you were mentioning earlier, Thomas, making a game involves so much more than sitting down and thinking of some cool game mechanic. There is such a huge variety of skills that you need to learn, and having the ability to sit down and learn something new and be able to have be able to roll with the punches is very important.
Yeah.
You gotta enjoy learning.
Yeah, enjoy learning.
Yeah. It really does require humility. It really does. I think if you guys, if we got to work together for a week, you would be like, what on earth is Thomas doing? because my method of doing things and how I learned to do stuff is not the right way. And so what I've learned is there's a million ways to do something. And my way of doing things is particularly inefficient. But all that said, you cannot expect to always learn things the right way and always learn things exactly how they should be done. Especially now where technology, there's like a million options out there on how to make a game.
Right.
So to my audience, I would encourage you to learn and be okay with learning it the wrong way and learning it in a slow way, in an inefficient way, and doing things wrong. And like you said, Daniel, you said you're not the smartest guy. And I think most indies aren't. There's plenty of indies out there that are geniuses, but most of us are kind of moronic and we don't really know what we're doing. But just have the humility to sit down and just start learning. Don't be scared about learning it wrong. Just start learning. I think that's a really good piece of advice.
Yeah. I would say to build off of that, I've always been of the mind and that it doesn't really matter how you came to a conclusion as long as you get to the conclusion. So if you like you said that maybe the way you learn and the way that you do stuff may be inefficient, but that's fine because you got to the goal that you wanted.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that that's a lot more important than having, perfect code that's just beautiful or having, being really efficient with your modeling. As long as you have a goal and you can get to that goal, then it doesn't really matter how you get there.
That's especially true. So I sound like an old man, but these days, like it's especially true these days because, like Reddit is a great example, but any of the social media platforms, essentially everyone gets to project that they're intelligent and that they basically project their best selves. And so in places like the game development community, there's always this feeling of like, oh, everyone's smarter than me. I'm stupid. How did they know how to do that? And then you'll read comments on Reddit and everybody seems to know something really smart. And so what you do is you go, okay, that comment was really smart. They seem to know everything. So you just assume that they know everything. But the truth is we're all sort of like spinning around blindly in the dark. And the people who are successful, they're the ones who follow your first tip, Jed, which is they're just persistently stupid. Like they just keep going.
Yeah.
And so I hate that. I would hate to give that advice, like blanket advice to everybody, because there's some of you who are listening who probably should not do this because maybe it's just not good for you to do because you're just not an entrepreneur. Maybe you would freak out. Maybe you can't handle the pressure. But at the very least, it's important to try and be persistent for a little while and see what comes of it.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
By the way, guys, feel free to download my free 2D game kit below. It's totally free. It's my treat to you. I used this exact 2D game kit to make a game for PewDiePie in 14 days, and then I got to play it in front of his subscribers, which was really awesome. So download that. Use it however you want. It's my treat to you. Yeah. Okay.